Let's look at assignment 3 and give you some hints and helps. I'm not going to show you every problem, but I'm just going to try to show you one type of each. So number 1 is finding the area of the triangle. The area of the triangle formula is 1/2 the sine of an angle times the other two sides. So since we have sine of A, we're going to use side C and side B. So 1/2 times the sine of 57 times 13 times 15. Be sure that you're multiplying those together. You put it in your calculator and you get 81.8. Number 3, this is the first one where you have to solve the triangle. Solving the triangle means finding all the other parts of the 6 pieces. We know 2 angles, so we have to find the third angle. We know one side, we got to find the other 2 sides. So I'm going to start with the angle because I know that the triangles of a triangle add up to 180. So 180 minus 85 minus 47 is 48. So angle A is 48. Now that I know a ratio of sine of 48 over 19, I can find side B because it's the sine of 85 over side B. And you take your calculator, here's the unknown, and you go 19 times the sine of 85, find an answer, and then divide that by sine of 48, and you will always get a right answer if you do it that way. The answer is 25.5 when you round it to the nearest tenth. I'm going to use that same ratio. Sine of 48 over 19 is equal to the sine of 47 over C. Because angle C is 47, side C is opposite. So C is the unknown, so you go 19 times sine of 47, find an answer, divide that by sine of 48, and you get 18.7. Number 4 is the SSA part of the triangle. So this time I have to find a side first, or an angle, and I have to use the law of sines to help me find that angle. So I know sine of C over C is equal to sine of B over B. So this time the unknown is right here, so I go 16 times the sine of 104, find an answer, divide that by 25, and you end up with a decimal. So you have to do the inverse sign. So you go second sine, and then put the decimal answer in. I always hit second answer, which is the negative button. And hit enter, and you get 38.4 rounded to the nearest tenth. Now that you know angle B, you can subtract angle C and angle B from 180 and get 37.6. Now that you know angle A, you can do the sine proportions to find side A. Sine of 104 over 25 equals sine of 36 over 37.6 over A. 25 times the sine of 37.6, find an answer, divide that by sine of 104, and you get 15.7. Number 6, solving the problem. So the first thing I notice is you know 2 angles, so 180 minus 24 minus 68 is 88 degrees. So it's either going to be the third or the fourth one. Sine of 68 over 14, so that's sine of B over B equals sine of 24 over A. A is then 14 times sine of 24. Find an answer, divide it by sine of 68. You get 6.1 rounded to the nearest tenth. Do the same thing for side C. Sine of 88, that's how far we found side or angle C to be, over C equals sine of 68 over 14. I just use that same ratio. To find C, I go 14 times sine of 88, find an answer, divide it by sine of 68, and you get 15.1. Let's look at number 8. Would you use the law of sines or Pythagorean theorem? Well, when I look at this, 72/44, and I'm just going to do quick math. So the other angle, 180 minus 72 minus 44 is 64. So this is not a right triangle. 72, 44, and 64, none of them are 90. So this is not a right triangle. So I'm going to have to use the law of sines. And you'll have to, I think it's a choice on here. So you are going to use the law of sines because it is not a right triangle. Then I need to find Angle C, did that already at 64. Now let's look for side A. So sine of 72 over A divided by sine of 44 over 14. That was the ratios of B. A is 14 times sine of 72. Find an answer. Divide it by sine of 44. You come up with 19.2. And part C, or define side C, sine of 64, because that's the sine of C over C, is equal to the sine of 44 over 14. 14 times the sine of 64, find an answer, divide it by sine of 44, you get 18.1. Let's look at this word problem. This is a great one. So, Tower of Pisa in Italy is leaning. It is not straight up and down. So, how far off? So, we know that it's 4 degrees off of the vertical altitude of it. So, we're going to find that distance right there. Well, the first thing I have to do, I have to find that third angle, because I know this is 4 degrees, this is 90 degrees. So I take 180 minus 90 minus 4, and I get 86 degrees. Now that I know that angle, I can go sine of 86 over 183, because those are opposite sides there, equals sine of 4 over d. D is then 183 times the sine of 4, find an answer. Divide that by sine of 86, you get 12.8 feet rounded to the nearest tenth. And the last one. So you're fertilizing a triangular garden. The hardest part here is just drawing a picture and getting all the information on the picture correctly. So I just drew a random triangle. I made one side of it 62, but then I also know that is side B. So I know that angle B is opposite, and I'm also told that angle B is 58 degrees. So there's the ratio that I know, sine of 58 over 62. I know this side over here, C is 54, so I want to find angle C, so sine of C over 54. So how I find that is I take 54 times the sine of 58, find an answer, divide it by 62, that's going to be a decimal. So then I do the inverse sign, so I go second sign of the answer, so I go second answer, which is the negative sign, and I get 47.6 degrees. Then angle A is 180 minus 47.6 minus 58, 74.4, I believe that is. Yeah, 74.4. Now all I need to do is find A. So sine of 744.4 over A is equal to the sine of 58 over 62, same ratio that I used before. 62 times the sine of 74.4 divided by the sine of 58 is equal to 70.4. Part B, this one says, one bag of fertilizer covers an area of 200 square feet. So the first thing you need to do is find out how many square feet is this triangular garden. So I'm going to use the formula, 1/2 sine 58. I'm going to multiply it by side A, which was the 70.4, times 54, and I get 611.97. Well, if every bag covers 200 feet, I divide that into the area, so 1611.97, divide it by 200, you get 8.1. But you can't go into the store and say, I need 8.1 bags of fertilizer, can you? So you would have to buy 9 if you want to completely cover the entire garden. Okay, hopefully that helped. Good luck on the assignment. Let me know if you need any help with the rest of the problems or have any questions. Thanks.